indeed. Welcome to the first wrestling podcast of 2021. I'm very excited to have my friend Tomas back on the show, as you can see.
Oh,
and
yes.
my friend, after...
It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means.
You know what that means, indeed. You know, after the day that America has had today with the blasphemous, embarrassing, disgraceful, treasonous... I'm not going to get into that, but you should be ashamed of yourself if you supported that.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let them throw their temper tantrum. Like the ocean, this will pass.
Yep.
The waves will pass. I was thinking about this a little before we came on. It's like, you know what? They want to throw their little temper tantrum. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting, but it's like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum in the supermarket. You don't want to give them too much attention or they will continue with that behavior. But let's just say we have an inauguration in a couple weeks, and
thank God.
I see a silver lining in the cloud.
Thank God. We do have a silver lining in the cloud indeed. And boy, howdy, do we need professional wrestling as a distraction. And thank God we got two big shows tonight. And we're actually going to do two different episodes of AEW versus NXT head-to-head on this show. If you guys are new here, welcome. Please consider hitting that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can if you haven't yet. And hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already by this point. I mean, I know it's early into the review, but, you know, if you like what you see, if you want to see more from us, definitely consider hitting that thumbs up. But seeing as how this is before we get into the first show, we do have a very, very tough subject to talk about that I feel like we absolutely have to address. This is the first podcast that we are doing since the tragic, sudden, and unfortunate passing of one Mr. Brodie Lee. Man, I'm already feeling myself getting choked up, man.
Last week we lost an amazing man, John Hubert, a.k.a. Luke Harper to WWE fans, a.k.a. Brodie Lee, his name on the Independents, and most recently in AEW. Mr. Brodie Lee, indeed, the exalted one. I was at work when Zack here delivered me the news, and I remember just a shock running through my body. And the first thing I thought was, this one's not real. No, no, absolutely not. But then looking into it, yes, it's very sad, and we did lose Mr. Brodie Lee very too soon.
Way too
absolutely too soon. But one thing that made me smile when I got off work and I was looking through my Instagram feed is that every single wrestler on planet Earth had something nice to say about this man, whether it be good memories of in the ring, good memories backstage, and they all said the same thing. He's an amazing husband. He's an amazing father. He loved nothing more on this planet than his family. He left behind a beautiful wife in Amanda and two beautiful little boys. One that is the TNT champion now, and he will be the TNT champion for life.
Minus one.
Yes.
And, you know, I feel like he's going to be like one of wrestling's best bookers years and years down the line, I'm sure, because he put together an amazing tribute show last week.
He did, and I saw the little promo he cut against Marco Stunt on Dark, and that kid has some mic skills already.
That kid put Marco Stunt in his place, you know.
He was very fluent. He did not stutter. He was very well spoken for a young man. And takes after his father already. Like, absolutely.
You know, you kind of already hear that in him.
Yeah. As very sad as it was, just seeing the beautiful tributes that WWE and AEW put together for him just made it all that easier. So we do wish rest in peace of Brodie Lee. I want to say my favorite memory of Brodie Lee was when we attended WrestleMania in 2015 at Levi Stadium. He was in the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. And not only did he almost die in that match, taking a disgusting powerbomb with, ironically, Jon Moxley in that match.
No, he was the one that delivered the powerbomb. You remember that?
Yes, he delivered the powerbomb to Moxley, and they both died in that spot.
Oh, God, yeah. He took a beating in that match, man. I was like, this guy is, like, he's inhumane. But
we were discussing some
good.
Brodie Lee moments, and I wanted to point out his attention to detail as a character. He came to the ring wearing this nice coat, but if you look at the coat, he had everyone in the ladder match's names crossed off on it. Like they were his victims. He had Moxley crossed off. He had the Yes movement crossed off. He had R-Truth crossed off. And I always thought that was a nice detail. Added like character to this match. That not
Absolutely.
only did he want the Intercontinental title, the character of Luke Harper wanted to hurt all of these opponents and eliminate them from the match. So one thing
Yes.
we did learn from Brodie Lee from his colleagues is that he was a very smart man in professional wrestling.
He
And it was
was
nice.
he was one of the most intelligent, level-headed guys working in the business.
Oh yeah.
There's
And it
no
was
question about
nice.
that.
It was nice to learn all of these things about Brodie Lee that we didn't know. And it was nice to hear, to know the human side of him, to know he loved his kids as much as he did, to know
Yeah.
that he would give up wrestling in a heartbeat to go spend the rest of his life with his family. And it was a beautiful tribute. Tears
Yeah.
were shed. And I just want to
Absolutely.
say, God bless the Huber family and rest in peace, Brodie Lee. He will be missed.
Absolutely. Well said, my friend. I've been fortunate enough to see Brodie wrestle on more than one occasion live. We were also in the crowd for Hell in a Cell for the amazing Tornado tag match he was a part of. Um, and honestly, I feel like he did some of the best work in his career when he was revealed as the Exalted One. Let's not forget, he had a really great match with Jon Moxley for the AEW title last year, Double or Nothing. And his final ever match was probably the best dog collar match in wrestling history, as far as I'm concerned, where he lost the TNT Championship. Um, he could do things in the ring that nobody of his size should be able to do. And, he did it. And
Oh, yeah.
he was
He was the perfect
something else.
combination of being a big man that could throw stiff clotheslines, hit those hard-hitting power bombs and power slams, but then before you know it, he's doing tope suicidos and jumping off the top rope like a cruiserweight. And when
Yes.
he would, I loved his matches with Rowan because, especially when they would wrestle the Usos, because it's like they were trying to
So
get on the
good.
Usos level. And when the Usos were throwing super kicks and doing tope suicidos, Harper would be right there throwing those kicks and diving through the ropes as well. So he was
Mm-hmm.
just an amazing, underrated athlete.
He
Absolutely underrated.
is an amazing talent and he loves professional wrestling, but to your point, he was an amazing father.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I send my thoughts and condolences to Amanda, Brodie, and Nolan, but I hope that once I'm fortunate enough to have kids, that I'm gonna be. I don't think,
We
man,
can only hope to be half the father that
yes,
Brodie Lee was.
there it is, there it is. Godspeed, Big Rig. You'll be missed, but man. So after that, we basically, after the big tribute show, AEW treats us to the show we got tonight, New Year's Smash Night 1. And it is going to be very hard for them to top themselves later in the year. I think they can do it.
Oh yeah.
But man, this was a stacked card that Tony Khan put
We
together
had
for us
some
tonight.
fun matches and some fun moments on the show to get ready for the year. And
Mm-hmm.
we had some surprises as well. From
Absolutely.
the get-go in the opening match, we have the AEW Tag Team Champions, Matt and Nick Jackson, ready to throw another super kick party as they team up with SoCal Uncensored, Frankie Kazarian, the Heavy Metal Rebel, and the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels to take on the Hybrid 2, Jack Evans and Angelico, and they team up with my new favorite tag team, the Acclaim. I just want to
Okay.
talk about.
Yes. Can I just say something real quick about the Acclaimed, real quick? Because I really did not have any clue what this team's gimmick even was. But then when Max Caster comes out and he drops the sickest verses I've ever heard in my life on the Bucks and on SCU, and this is coming from a guy that grew up watching John Cena as the Doctor of Thugonomics, but rap and hip hop as a genre has evolved along with the time. And Caster eviscerated these poor lads in the ring.
So when they started rapping, I really liked it. And of course, the elephant in the room came out and they got insulted for copying John Cena. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
John Cena was the man who started the hip hop gimmick, but that doesn't mean he owns it. And I feel
No,
like it's been what, over almost 20 years now? Over 20 years. No, 19 years. It's
nah,
2021 now.
don't make me feel old, man.
Yeah, 19 years since Cena has debuted that gimmick, it's okay for other people to play around with that gimmick. And I think the Acclaimed has done it very well to be very insulting to the opponents. And if they can do something that's new and different, not just talking about, pulling out a packet of salted nuts and saying these nuts, that's Cena's thing. If they
Yeah.
can make it their own, then I say why not? And I think the Acclaimed hold this gimmick right now very well. And
Oh
their theme
yeah.
song is nice. It's a nice beat
It is a
to rap
nice
to.
theme song, yeah. And JR, when they were done rapping, drops one of my favorite lines on commentary the entire night. I'd like to see that in closed caption.
That was great.
Because they
That was
censored out a
great.
couple of things that Max Caster said. And
Yeah.
well said,
But
JR.
this is going to be an important detail for after the match. But as of 2021, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian have been teaming for 8 years now.
Yes.
They started off as the Bad Influence back in TNA back in 2012. 8 or 9 years, something like that. But
we're not gonna talk about what storyline they started teaming up in. Of course not.
Let's just say strange storylines brought together a very good team, and throughout a bunch of different promotions, whether it be TNA or Ring of Honor and now AEW, Kazarian and Daniels have somehow found a way to stick together that entire time. And that is, wow, that's amazing. You don't see teams nowadays. You do not see tag teams stick together for that long. Motor City Machine Guns have been together since 2008. The New Day have been together for 7 years now.
Yeah,
it's rare.
God.
It's very rare.
Man, this is wild how quick time is flying by. Like, it feels like time is going by really slow, especially right now. But, before you know it, the whole decade's going to be over.
Yeah.
But, so this was a very, I don't want to say standard, but it was very par for the course for, like, big 8-man tag team openers. There was a big heat segment on Christopher Daniels, and Jack Evans especially looked really, really strong on the heel side. He was doing a lot of really cool flipping moves that I've never seen before. Excalibur called out the standing sky twister press, which was awesome.
I think my favorite spot was when the Acclaimed did some top rope stuff, and then Evans did his top rope stuff, and then they tagged in Angelico. He went to go do his thing. He jumps off the top rope, lands on his feet, and just like smacks
because he's
one of the Young Bucks.
Because he's a douche and he's a heel.
Yeah.
That's why, But
obviously went to the Kevin Owens school of being a heel, because that reminds me of something that Owens would do. How he would run to the ropes a bunch of times, and then he would just come to a halt, drop to his knees, and put in a rest hold on his opponent.
It felt very PWG-esque. And a lot of these guys were PWG staples over the last decade. But it was a fun match. I mean, you have your typical hot tag segments. Kazarian looked really good on those hot tags, by the way. Let's see. So the Bucks get in, and they do their usual amazing flippy shit. And then they go for the Meltzer driver, and it's intercepted. And at that point, I was just like, is there any point where a Meltzer driver is actually hit? Because I actually love that move.
Yeah, I feel like in AEW, they've only hit it like once or twice. It may be a move that they're just saving for big moments and not just doing it all willy-nilly, because it is a tombstone pile driver mixed in with a springboard front flip. It's not necessarily something that should be kicked out of.
No, not at all. And like, to that extent, I'm glad they're kind of saving it for those big moments to put people over. But
especially here when they go for the Meltzer driver and Christopher Daniels comes in for the assist and he hits the best moonsault ever, which they called the best Meltzer ever.
The best Meltzer ever. I marked out.
And you know what? That was a pretty badass move.
It was
the fact
so
that Daniels is in his mid-40s and he can still pull off that best moonsault ever. Ooh, that's amazing right there.
And the fact that he stuck the landing and actually helped. I don't know if it was Matt that usually holds the person for the pile driver when they do the Meltzer driver. So when he stuck the landing with Matt, like at Daniel's age, it was very impressive to see that. But Daniels actually got the pin for his team after hitting the best Meltzer ever.
Yeah. So with that being said, SoCal Uncensored get on the mic and they do say, for whatever unknown reason, that they agreed last week at the end of the year that they're pulling a Ric Flair on us, and basically the next match that SCU loses as a team, they're going to split up. I
Yeah,
don't know why. Maybe Daniels is looking at retirement. Maybe Kazarian wants to go
maybe.
off on his own. Maybe they want to do their own separate thing before they hang it up for good. But we're
Hmm.
kind of getting a Ric Flair 2008 scenario where SCU has to win every single match, and the next time they lose, they're done for.
Yeah, I think honestly, especially after the way this show ended, I think it is leading to a big tag team title match with the Bucks, perhaps at Revolution next month. And maybe that's where they finally split off, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, only time will tell.
it just felt very. I felt like it was a mutual agreement between Daniels and Kazarian. Like, hey, we've been teaming for a good 9 years now. Daniels is like, probably thinking about retirement. Maybe Kazarian wants to go off and do his own thing. Maybe they realized the addiction, bad influence, SCU, it's ran its course. We don't even really see Scorpio Sky with them anymore because Sky wants to go off and do his own thing.
No,
Maybe it's time to stop the tag team thing. And, I
maybe
understand, but as a fan, it makes me sad because
it
we've just
does.
watched Daniels and Kazarian team for so long now. Like, you're
Yeah,
not ready for it to end. It's like the New Day. We didn't want to
freshen
see the New Day end.
got to freshen things up too.
Yeah.
At some points, all good things must come to an end. But
Yeah, basically.
as far as this match goes, it was very good. I gave it 3.25 stars, 3.5 if I'm being nice. Again, typical fun 8-man tag opener. Great action. I loved the ending sequence, as we've obviously talked about, but not really too much to complain about here. But only time will tell where it goes with this SCU Young Bucks
Yeah.
dynamic here.
If there's one good thing that's going to come out of this is that we're going to see SCU face a lot of different tag teams, and they're probably going to
Yes.
put over a lot of good tag teams. And the
Oh yeah.
team that finally gets that pinfall over SCU, it's going to launch them big. Look
Oh,
what
for
it did for
sure.
Shawn Michaels. Look what pinning the Undertaker did for Brock Lesnar.
Hmm.
Like, you save big things like that. It's not going to be a retirement for SCU, but whoever beats them, they're never going to shut up that we ended SCU. They've been
Right.
teaming since 2012, and we forced them to split up.
Absolutely. I agree. It'll be interesting for sure because this tag team division in AEW is stacked, way better than WWE as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
But
yeah.
coming up next, speaking of ex WWE stars, we get the return of Jon Moxley promo. And it's basically it's his first showing after the highway robbery of the AEW title at Winter is Coming by Kenny Omega. It was a
Let
very
me ask
impassioned
you
speech.
something.
What's up?
Let me ask you something, slash, I'll give my opinion on this. Do you think they should have advertised Moxley's return?
I mean, I don't see why not to pop a rating. In
I
this
mean, it
case,
doesn't bother me, but I just kind of felt how we didn't see Moxley for 3 weeks and they didn't really talk about him. I felt like it could have been like when a wrestler loses and they kind of just quietly go away for a while just to have them come back and it's such a big surprise. I was
right.
kind of hoping for that. I was kind of hoping Moxley would stay away for a couple of months just to build up his return. But it doesn't bother me that much. It's just kind of like they're just gonna advertise Moxley's return.
Yeah. And
But
and
yeah,
he
it's a little nitpick, just a little.
it was a very impassioned speech that Mox gave, especially as we've seen over this last year. His passion for the business has skyrocketed. And
Oh, and he put over Ray Fenix huge in this promo.
yeah, and he dropped so many amazing lines. My favorite
Yeah,
being, "I have zero tolerance policy for shitty people."
I love that.
Don't
Oh,
we
that was
all?
great.
Don't we
Yeah,
all?
and
Um,
I think tonight was also give Fenix the rub night because he was getting praise up the wazoo that he totally deserved.
out the
And we will get to that
wazoo
main event. Yeah,
for sure.
we'll
We'll
get to
get to
that main
the
event when we get to it.
Oh, for sure. But I cannot wait for the Omega Moxley rematch eventually once that time comes. Maybe in a lights out match again. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm sure my girlfriend would be very scarred if she had to watch Omega and Mox duke it out in a lights out match again. But
Oh, that was fun.
in any case, here we go. Want to talk about brutal fights? How about a Haas fight? Jake Hager versus Wardlow.
Oh, yay, two of my favorites. Not a huge fan of Jake Hager.
I, I'm not either. I don't really care for the guy a whole lot. But you know
You
what I
know
will
what?
say? You know what I will
I
say?
Yeah,
Wardlow may be money. I don't know, but he really impressed me in this match.
I will admit this is one of Hager's better matches that he had tonight. I don't know what it is, but I gave him a chance in WWE when he was the All-American American. Didn't pan out well. They gave him the world title. I gave him another chance. It was eh. They repackaged him. They gave him Dirty Dutch Mantel as his manager.
Yes.
It was going good. And then it turned into because he got suspended and they stopped his push.
Yeah.
And then he turns babyface. The crowd was really into it. I was into it. It petered out after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets released. He asks for his release and he comes to AEW. I'm willing to give him one more chance. And I'm just like,
His matches are not that exciting. I don't know what it is about him. But, I mean, him and Wardlow did some good things in this match, but, I mean, there was...
I mean, I'll give him credit. He's an All-American collegiate wrestler from Oklahoma. JR puts him over huge because JR is the one that discovered him.
Well, of course.
And he has focused a lot on MMA lately, and he's very passionate about MMA, and he is undefeated. So I will give credit to where it's due. Hager is very dedicated to his craft, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot more work to do for Hager.
Yeah, which is ironic considering how long he's been doing this. And you also, again, I feel like Wardlow outshined him in this match. He was extremely impressive, doing a lot of really cool athletic things. I will admit it wasn't all clean. There was one point where he tried doing a Hurricane Rana on the apron, but it just backfired.
I think this match was made to make Wardlow look good.
Yes, 100%.
I feel like, I will admit, if there is, Wardlow's a little green, just a tad.
He's getting better.
When it comes to big men in AEW, I think Jake Hager has the experience, and he has that veteran status where he could take a Wardlow under his ring and be like, hey, I'm a bigger guy like you. Let me show you, let me show you some different stuff so you don't have to rely on just being the big guy. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing I respect Hager for. He has a decent submission game, a decent grappling game. I just feel like it just needs a little more oomph.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say that F10 that Wardlow delivered at the end of the match was
so neat.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. And like he also hit a swanton earlier in the match, and I was like, okay, it's a pretty clean swanton for a guy that big.
Yeah. Wardlow might work as a babyface.
He might. Him and MJF might be a money program later this year. But again, only time will tell. These are just predictions on my end.
There's nothing wrong with experimentation. There's nothing wrong with brainstorming. And these are the things I think of with Wardlow. Like, I could see him getting over with the crowd. I'm scared it'll be like a short stint, like Ezekiel Jackson turning babyface. Like, the crowd will pop for him for like a few months, but they'll get kind of tired of him after a while.
I forgot that.
When all they realize he can do is a body slam. But I think Wardlow has a little more potential than that. Yeah. And they can definitely they can experiment with him.
And don't think I didn't notice the couple of the fans in Daly's place that were chanting Wardlow at Wardlow in the style of the Goldberg chants. Don't think I didn't notice that.
I did not notice that.
But
I don't think Wardlow wants Goldberg chants hurled at him right now.
Especially not right now, which we'll certainly talk about in another pod later this month.
Yes.
But yeah, to your point, Wardlow hits the F10 and he does pin Jake Hager clean in the middle of the ring. And they do a fist bump at the end.
Yeah.
It was
kind of like Hager finally earned Wardlow finally earned Hager's respect.
Right. And this was Inner Circle versus Inner Circle. I completely forgot to mention that every single one was at ringside, and Chris Jericho was on commentary marking out the entire show.
Yeah, and Jericho even said, this isn't us fighting each other. This is just two big guys with a lot of aggression, and they need to take it out on each other. And you know what? Coming from two guys, sometimes you just got to beat the shit out of your friend.
Right. I gave the match 3 stars, honestly. There were some things that really impressed me. Wardlow, I think, definitely outshined Jake Hager by a mile. And good on Jake Hager for putting him over when he should have. Because I feel like it was Wardlow's night to go over.
Yeah. And the next thing we move on to is, I thought it was a pointless segment at first, But do remember,
Yep.
they did this for another big world title match last year with Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho. This is the weigh-in for the TNT title match next week between Darby Allin and Brian Cage. And I have a little rant I have to do about Team Taz right now.
Oh, here we
Brian
go.
Cage, great. Taz as the mouthpiece, awesome. I like Ricky Starks. Powerhouse Hobbs, Hook.
I was
You put
really
a little boy in
convinced.
your stable
I was really
because he's
convinced.
your son.
Ouch. Ouch. I thought you
Yeah,
were
I'm
gonna.
sorry.
Here I was thinking you were gonna praise Powerhouse Hobbs right now, especially because they're doing some shit with him.
Okay. I like Powerhouse Hobbs. I really do. He has a lot of potential. He comes from the Bay Area, so how can I be against that?
Of
I
course.
know a lot of people that know him and they're very proud of him, and of course, I got to support the hometown boy. I think he would work better as a babyface. To me, he's got that Apollo Crews complex where he has a beautiful smile, and when he tries to act like a mean guy, you can tell he's acting like he's a mean guy.
Yeah.
He acts like he wants to be mean, but in all actuality, he wants to take you out and buy you lunch.
He is a better babyface than a heel, isn't he?
I'm not a
Yeah,
huge fan
he
of the
is.
name change.
Oh
Powerhouse
no.
Hobbs. It
It,
seems a little forced.
it does. It sounds very gimmicky in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
I wouldn't mind them calling him like the Powerhouse Will Hobbs,
Yeah,
but
just make it a nickname. Yeah, I agree. It's
yeah, just like, and there was like no context behind the name change. Will Hobbs turned heel, and then the very next week they were calling him Powerhouse,
I
and I was
know.
like, it seems a little forced.
It
And
did seem a little forced. Also to note before we
Hook, mhm,
continue on with this segment, I should note that Darby Allin came out with the new TNT Championship after it was presented to -1 last week. It's just the
yeah,
same. It's the same damn belt with the black strap. That's pretty much all
yeah,
it was. Tony Khan was tweeting out or touting that it was going to be a brand new design for the TNT Championship, but it's pretty much the same belt, just different color strap to it, which is
but it
fine.
did make me feel really, 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 really good inside to know that -1 has his dad's belt.
Absolutely, and it's
That is
a hell of
that
a.
is absolutely amazing.
I'm not saying I'm not saying get rid of the red strap entirely. You know, well, I mean, yes, you know, it's definitely an extremely classy gesture on Tony Khan's part to do that for
Oh
the
yeah,
Huber family, for sure, and I'm 100% on board with that. But when he's touting that it's going to be a brand new design for the TNT title and it's just the
yeah.
same belt,
It wasn't a new design.
I don't know. I
I
mean,
agree. I definitely agree. No. I agree with you there.
anyway,
Back to making fun of Team Taz.
here we
I'm
go.
sorry, but Taz Hook looks like he's in the stable because Daddy put him in there. He doesn't look ready. We have no idea what he wrestles like. So why? Why?
And
Why is he there?
to make
There's
matters
no
worse,
context.
they are all scared of a 61-year-old man in face paint that's been retired for 5
We
years because
we will get to that. We will get to that.
Sting.
I just got to complain just a little more about Hook.
Okay, okay.
I just feel like, oh, he's training in AEW, and because of that, with no context, they're like, okay, go be in the stable. There's no context. What if he sucks at wrestling? I mean, his dad's Taz. I'm sure he's good at wrestling, but what if he
Yeah.
goes out there and the first thing he does is he gets his ass handed to him? I'm sorry, I don't care if that's your son. You got to make him prove himself just a little before you put him on TV with Brian Cage and Ricky Starks and hell, even Will Hobbs.
Yes,
We've never even seen this kid throw a punch,
I agree.
and I would hate to see him end up like Dominic.
Dominic is at least a good wrestler, though. He's been training for a while with Lance Storm,
Yeah,
but he has not been used on TV in a while because
yeah.
Buddy Murphy decided to hook up with his 19-year-old sister.
Also, I can count all the matches
Damning.
he's won on one hand.
Ridiculous. We'll
Anywho,
save that
you're
for a
right.
different video.
Yeah, you're right though. Team Taz, when they're going up against Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin, perfectly fine. Let's go kick their ass. When a senior citizen with clown makeup appears, nope. That's too much for us. We can't
Sting.
fight this guy.
Sting's entrance and his presentation on AEW is awesome. I think it's an amazing thing that Sting is back on TNT after how long has it been? Like 20 years now, almost.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
Damn. 20 years since
I like the
WCW
snow.
closed. I do like the snow.
I really like the snow. It's different.
I'm really curious to see that entrance live once we finally go to an AEW show in the live in the flesh. But my thing with them signing Sting, my thing with them signing Sting is I really don't want to see Sting get hurt again. But like, what's the point of AEW signing him if he's not going to wrestle? Because Sting is a presence, unlike, some of these other legends that AEW has. No disrespect, of course, but Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, you really don't want to see them wrestle again. And I don't want to see Sting wrestle again, but he just has that aura and that mystique about him that just really, entices me to see him get physical.
He looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Sting looks very eager to go.
And it's not that he isn't.
That's exciting. It's exciting. And it's scary for a couple reasons. Because number one, we don't want to see him get hurt again.
No.
Number two, he is 61 years old. And it's been 6 years since he's last wrestled.
Yep.
Considering how limited he was back then, now that he has a broken neck, he's going to be even more limited now. What can he do except put him in an 8-man tag against Team Taz, where he can be very protected? Guys like Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes and, Powerhouse Hobbs, they can do all the work. And then Sting can go in there, get his Stinger Splash in, get his Death Drop in, get his Death Lock in, and get the pop.
Yeah.
Because unless he's doing that, I'm sorry, he can't wrestle Darby Allin for 30 minutes. He can't wrestle Jon Moxley in a lights-out match.
No. He's got to be, if he's going one-on-one with somebody, it's got to be someone who's reliably safe. Cody Rhodes is one of them, and I know that deep down inside, Cody Rhodes is dying to get in the ring with Sting. Maybe even Chris Jericho to an extent. I could see Sting and Chris Jericho being a big money match for one of AEW's big shows.
It's never happened before.
No.
Sting and Jericho has never happened before.
Nope.
And that's insane.
It's very insane considering how long both of them have been doing this combined.
Yeah.
But
before Sting's entrance, though, they do the weigh-in and they find out that Brian Cage has 100 pounds over Darby Allin. And
that's scary.
The segment wasn't really much. They did the weigh-in. They talked for a bit. And then Sting comes out, and then Team Taz backs off. Taz screams at Sting, "I'm tired of you. I'm sick of you." And I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
Allin and Sting need to find a couple more partners before they fight Team Taz. But next week, we will see in the TNT title match between Allin and Brian Cage.
Presumably in the main event, I'm assuming, because that's the only title match on next week's show. But speaking of matches, we got Matt Sydal and his Third Eye going one-on-one with Cody Rhodes, accompanied to the ring by Snoop Dogg. And Cody Rhodes actually does have a remix of his Kingdom theme by Downstate with Snoop's own improvised lyrics, I'm assuming, thrown in towards the beginning. And it was pretty cool to hear that.
That was cool. That was cool.
But Snoop was basically there to shill the big, go big show on not TNT, TBS. It's going to be premiering tomorrow night, and Cody's also on that.
Yes.
But this was actually the match I was looking forward to the most on this AEW card, believe it or not. I really enjoy both of these workers. I think they've shown that they've had really good chemistry together in the past, and I was excited to see what they could do in a big match. And honestly,
not only that, I'm sorry. I just wanted to point out that Snoop Dogg was ringside the entire match, and he had so much charisma.
He did.
You can tell that Snoop is a wrestling fan at heart. First of all, he had the Denny's menu.
I hate that fucking gimmick. I'm sorry. That gimmick makes no sense.
He got the menu over. You know why he got the menu over? Because he was actually throwing up plays to Cody. He was hiding behind it, and he was throwing up signs telling Cody Rhodes what to do. You know who doesn't do that? Arn Anderson.
Nope, the one that always comes out with the Denny's menu. And Snoop actually got it over, even though I still hate the damn gimmick.
Snoop looked like he was having so much fun out there.
Oh yeah, and he absolutely did have fun out there. It looks like. Honestly, I know Cody Rhodes got the grand entrance. I know he had Snoop Dogg by his side, so he was probably going to win this. But I really wanted Matt Sydal to pull this one out, just to throw him a bone.
Yeah,
Because
I
he's
feel like that
really
way.
great.
I feel that way with a lot of AEW matches where they put these not jobbers, but like more mid to lower carders against the main eventers, and you just have your fingers crossed that, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Matt Sydal won? But they don't do that.
No,
They just don't do that. Wouldn't it be cool if Top Flight beat Chris Jericho and MJF? Yes, it would. They won't do that. They
no,
just won't do it. And I think it's AEW's biggest flaw right now.
yeah,
They always think that, oh, we'll put these guys over. They're going to look good in defeat. Why not letting them win just once?
yeah. I
He did it for Orange
really,
Cassidy, and he got over huge.
I really, really, really wanted Matt Sydal to pull this one out, but spoiler alert, he did not. I should mention that Matt Sydal's Meteora to Cody Rhodes on the outside almost collided right into Snoop, who was really hyped up on the outside, and he just hopped out of the way at the nick of time. Um,
Snoop
Sydal's,
Dogg looks like the kind of person that if he got hit like ringside, he would just lay there and go, "That was awesome. Can we do it again?" And as we
Snoop,
saw after the
Snoop is
match,
so cool.
Snoop looks like he doesn't mind bumping. He
No,
looks like someone that wouldn't mind taking a bump.
he does not. He does not. But just real quick before we get into that, basically the ending was Matt Sydal did a flip bump inside out on a disaster kick, by the way, and that should be noted because it looked so cool. Um, two straight
Oh, that's when
crossroads though.
Sydal did a full backflip when he sold it, right?
Yep. Cody hit the disaster kick and
Sydal
Sydal
sold
did
that
a.
beautifully.
Oh man, Sydal was bumping like crazy for Cody in this. But yeah, two straight crossroads. He took not one but two. And to your point, he kind of looks good in defeat, but I feel like he should have won partly. But yeah,
Yeah,
two straight
we don't see
crossroads.
Sydal enough on Dynamite.
No.
Yeah, we don't see enough of Sydal on Dynamite, and that's sad. That's very sad because he should be like in TNT title contention,
Mm-hmm.
but they just use him on Dark all the time, and it's like, I know he screwed up big time in his debut, but are you really gonna hold that against him for
No,
like the rest of his career?
they
I don't
shouldn't.
think that's fair.
They really
And then
shouldn't.
all of a sudden, Chaos Project, they interfere for whatever reason.
because
Random tag
Cody
team is random.
because Cody hits Serpentico during the match on
He
accident.
did? I don't even
Yep.
remember that.
Yep. Cody hit Serpentico on accident at ringside during the match, and they just decided to attack. But I mean, the match itself was pretty good. I gave it 3.5, 3.75 if I'm being nice. Sydal should have won. I'm still fully, behind that camp. But yeah, what was their name? Team Chaos? Team Chaos or
Chaos Project.
Chaos
Luther
Project.
and
Thank you.
Serpentico.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just slipped my mind for a second. But yeah, they hit the ring and they attack both guys. Snoop comes in and, Sydal and Cody get the upper hand. And then Snoop wants to go up top and they lay out Serpentico. And Snoop hits the worst frog splash I've ever seen in my life.
You know what? It was cool, but you knew it was going to look like shit.
Yeah.
And that looked so unrehearsed. Like,
No.
you think Snoop was at the arena all day. You think they could have brought him out to the ring to practice that like 2 times?
Yeah.
But Snoop looked like he was fully committed until he was coming down.
Yeah.
Because he actually got a nice jump, but then he came down and he like wanted to land on his feet. He was
went
too
feet
scared to like
first.
make full contact. Yeah.
And
He looked too scared to go full contact like on the way down.
and Serpentico actually took a pin for him that I believe Sydal counted. And
Yeah.
Jericho
You know
was
what, Snoop?
Jericho was fake
Yeah.
pissed on commentary, by the way. He's like, he's great at everything he does, and I hate it.
Jericho was putting over huge. I will say one thing. Snoop, next time you come to AEW, why don't you get with Matt Sydal like a
Right?
few hours before the show and have him
Yeah.
teach you how to do a splash? I'm sure Sydal wouldn't mind taking a few like practice bumps for you.
Or better yet, have him actually accompany Sydal to the ring for one of his matches on pay-per-view. That would put Sydal
Yeah,
over huge.
yeah, like we're talking about the guy who had to do 20 shooting star presses in a row at his WWE tryout. I don't think he
Yep.
would mind taking a couple of splashes for Snoop.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So yeah,
But
next time Snoop wants to do something like that, he better practice.
yeah, and I'll tell you what, next time you have a gimmick like Abadon, make sure you put her over huge, because up next we have the AEW Women's World Title, Hikaru Shida defending against Abadon, and I feel like Hikaru Shida has been the champion forever. But let me say something about Abadon real quick. She is awesome. She really impressed me in this match. Her presence,
She
really cool.
is
She is so
fucking
freaky.
scary.
She
She's
is,
fucking terrifying.
you know what she is? She's just the female Fiend. This
She's
gimmick
terrifying.
this gimmick is so easy to not fuck up. There were points where she dragged Hikaru Shida under the ring, and they cut to a commercial, and Hikaru Shida had, like, you know, the fake blood coming out of her neck, like Abadon actually
She
bit her there.
neck.
Yeah, and it was freaking awesome.
So let me ask you a question, Zach. Being the big movie buff you are,
Yeah,
in a zombie movie, when you get bit on the neck, what happens next?
you're done.
The person you're dead.
You're done.
You
You're
either
dead.
turn into a zombie
Kaput.
or the zombie is gonna devour you
You're
because
done.
you just got bit in the neck. And Shida not only fought off Abadon, she beat her.
Yes, that's pretty much what
fucking beat
happened.
her.
Abadon got one burst of energy. She actually did the Bray Wyatt, like, you know, spider crawl at one point. But to your point, Shida hits the Tamashi and beats her clean. What the hell is this?
This is what I'm talking about with AE.
They have a gimmick or they have an idea, and with very little to no build on Dynamite, just because they spend most of their time on Dark, they get, you know, a little bit of momentum on Dynamite, and then boom, they're challenging for the championship and they lose. This was one of those instances again where I said, wouldn't it be cool if Abadon won? Wouldn't this
Abadon
put her
should have
over
won.
huge?
Abadon should have won, because to your point, she not only bit her in the fucking neck, she bit her in the thigh earlier in the match. And
Yeah.
Shida solved that like a mother. And she should have been limping all over the place. You know, if she was going to fight it off, she should have tried to run away from this freak.
Exactly. And that's what you rarely see the babyface run away, but this whole build, Shida has been running away from Abadon.
Yeah.
And just like, I understand putting over this character because, again, she's fucking terrifying. Here's the thing with her. I love her gimmick so much that I don't want to know what she looks like without makeup. That would absolutely just kill it for me. But she has the contacts and the face paint and the fake blood. If I saw her in real life, I would fucking run for the hills. She's terrifying.
She lives the gimmick. And tonight they killed it, because she was beaten clean in less than 10 minutes by the women's champion in a title match where she should have won.
You know, again, there's a right way to do this. You have her on Dynamite for a few months and you have her mow through the entire women's locker room. You have her beat some big names. Have her beat a Big Swole. Have her beat a Thunder Rosa. Have her beat some big
build
names.
her up.
And then after she has some names under her belt, she goes up to Shida and says, hey, I've beaten everyone else on the roster. I want that women's championship. But in this case, Abadon just showed up out of nowhere. You know when's the only time I've seen Abadon wrestle? When she beat Anna Jay. Before Anna Jay joined the dark side.
Yeah.
Everything else has been on the dark.
Unbelievable, dude. Like, it's so easy to not mess up this gimmick. I mean, you've seen it. Like, I 100% agree. Like, build Abadon up and then have her, like, either, like, whether or not you want to have her dethrone Shida down the line later on in the year, like, you know, at Full Gear, if you wanted to do the match there, like, fine, you can choose then. But don't put Shida over Abadon right now. Like, when
It's
Abadon is just catching steam.
I had with the Acclaimed and the Young Bucks. The Acclaimed were good. They beat SCU, and then the minute they beat SCU, they get a title shot, and they lose. Where do you go from there?
I
If
don't
you
know,
want to
man.
build these people up and still have them lose, that's okay. But just don't waste it away. So what do you do with Abadon now? She lost the women's title.
Yeah.
What do you do with her now? What do you do with the Acclaimed?
I don't know, man. I can't go higher than 2 3/4 stars for this match because I did like the idea, like, as it was building up, and I liked how JR was building it up like it was like some scary zombie flick, but they killed the gimmick like after the commercial break, and it really infuriated me. It made Abaddon look like a chump, and they shouldn't have done
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
not
This was
every
probably the lowest point of night one.
yeah, yeah, without a
And oh
doubt.
my God, we're already at the main event.
Yes, already at the main event for show number 1 on this pod. Just by the way, if you haven't already, just a reminder, hit that subscribe button if you're new, if you're enjoying this. But if you're enjoying listening to Tomas and I argue, because we do it all the time on this show. But anyway,
A lot of love.
yeah, you bet, my friend. AEW World Heavyweight Championship is on the line. The new champion, Kenny Omega, who has taken the belt over to Impact and shown up on that show with his irritating car salesman manager, Don Callis. He is defending the championship tonight against Fenix, as Justin Roberts would say.
First nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
That bothers me so much. Justin
I know.
Roberts is the only one that calls him Fenix. Everyone else calls him Phoenix. Is this an inside joke? Is this a thing?
Justin Roberts is the only one pronouncing it correctly, as far as I'm concerned. And everyone else is just fucking it up.
Mark my words. If I ever meet Ray Fenix, that is the only question I'm going to ask him.
There you go.
How the hell do you pronounce your last name?
That's how you do it. But this was a phenomenal main event. But I would like to start out by nitpicking something. Before the match, Fenix just gets his normal entrance, and he's, all fired up. But then you get a Kenny Omega grand entrance with the Sweeper Girls. And you get this elongated intro from Justin Roberts, and he looks like $1 million as the top heel in the promotion. I wonder who wins this match.
Yeah, you're right.
There was
100%. Again, this is the third time that we're bringing this up on AEW. It's too predictable.
Yeah.
As good as this match as we knew it was going to be, as
so
good as that Chris Jericho versus Kazarian is going to be good. Hikaru Shida versus Big Swole is going to be a good match. Cody Rhodes versus Jungle Boy is going to be a good match. You know who's going to win, though? Because AEW, not for 1 second, will ever do an upset. I'm going to say something that's going to piss off a lot of wrestling fans right now.
Yep.
Last week on Raw, Grand Metalik beat The Miz. AEW won't do that.
They will not.
AEW will not do that. They think giving the rub to someone in defeat is the only way to get someone over. And you know what? When Grand Metalik beat The Miz, The Miz is a mid-carder right now, but he's a former WWE champion. He's been in the company for, almost 20 years now. He has the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's a solid performer.
Wrongfully,
Grand
by the way.
Grand Metalik, unlike tonight, was a jobber. He was a jobber. And he got an upset victory over The Miz. Mm-hmm. It was cool to see. AEW won't do that.
I 100% agree. Matt Sydal should have won tonight. Abadon should have won tonight. They didn't do that.
And you know what? Take TLC, for example. At least with Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles, you actually wondered who was going to win that match.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I think McIntyre and Reigns are going to retain, but it's a possibility Owens or Styles can win the title. At least, and I know I'm defending WWE over AEW. Shoot me now, fake wrestling fan over here. But
of course, it's all about constructive criticism,
Yeah, when you compare, at least, unless it's a pay-per-view for AEW, if they just say, "Oh, Kenny Omega is going to defend the world title against Trent," you know who's going to win.
Kenny Omega versus Chuck Taylor.
You know who's going to
who's
win.
going to win.
When
Kenny
there's going to be
Omega.
zero build. Because there's also zero build.
I mean, Kenny Omega versus Pac might be a little bit less predictable
Yeah.
now, but you'd still have a good feeling that Kenny was going to win, especially right now. Like, just as Kenny won the title, he is just catching fire with this amazing, amazing crossover storyline, which we will talk about at the end, at the end of this match. I won't spend too much time on it, but, there was no way he was losing. No disrespect to Rey Fenix. Like, there is no way that Kenny Omega is holding that title, or dropping that title, rather, before All Out. I'm calling it right now. He is holding that title at least until September. So,
Hell, maybe even longer. Maybe even longer than that.
Maybe even longer. Yeah, he might hold it the full year. He might beat Moxley's record for all I know.
Yeah.
But again, only time will tell.
So yeah, that's my biggest criticism of AEW right now. Put your stars over by winning.
And moral of the story to the fans, please do not deify one product over the other, because there's a lot of good professional wrestling out there, like in this match, because Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix tore the fucking house down for 25 minutes. It was excellent professional wrestling.
I'm going to say this right now. This was better than Omega and Hangman Page.
It was.
In the world title finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I liked it a lot more. My biggest complaint with that match is that I wanted more time. This match got the perfect amount of time, and holy shit, Rey Fenix is good.
I love this fucking guy. He was bumping like crazy for Kenny Omega, but to his credit, Omega was also making Rey Fenix look really fucking good with his offense.
Oh, yeah. We saw the best of Fenix in this match. And my favorite spot, you already know what it is when Fenix did the backflip off the top rope and in one fell swoop, grabbed Omega and hit him with a German suplex. All in one swift motion. I rewound the match and I watched that spot a good 5 times just wondering, how the fuck do you do that?
These guys just make everything they do look easy. And they played off of each other so well.
How does a human being even do that?
I mean, great selling, just great transitions from both guys. They went out there for 25 minutes, and unlike this other main event that we'll talk about in just a little bit on this show, they went out there and they just did high spots for 25 minutes, and there were a lot of really good close near falls for Fenix. There were a lot of good close near falls for Omega. Tiger Driver 98, excellent move, great near fall.
And for once, Omega did not overdo it with the V-trigger in this match.
He did not.
I think he hit it twice?
Yeah, like once or twice. He hit it once, like right towards the end of the match before he hit the one-winged angel, and then one more time in the middle.
I personally do not get bothered by the V-trigger, but I do understand fans when they say he uses it a little too much.
Me.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Kenny Omega basically hits the one-winged angel and gets the predictable 3 count, but wow, this was a 4.5-star main event. From these guys. They went in and tore the house down, but you know what? As sad as it is to say, it might have been overshadowed by this post-match angle that they ran.
Which, real quick, before we get to it, after the match, Kenny Omega got a little too dark. Like, he scared me. He straight up told Fenix, I'm going to end your fucking career tonight. I'm going to I'm going to give you the one-winged angel on a bunch of steel over there, and I'm going to break your fucking neck. It was a little scary, not going to lie.
It really was.
During that promo, I was like, okay, pump the brakes. You just told a man you're going to break his neck.
And Pac and Pentagon Jr. were being held captive by Eddie Kingston and the Filthy Animals 2.0. So they could not run out to make the save. But here comes Jon Moxley with the barbed wire bat to even the odds, and he is beating up Kenny Omega with that weapon. But who comes in to make the save for Kenny Omega than the Impact World Tag Team Champions themselves, the Good Brothers on AEW Dynamite. I was so happy to see them. And this invasion storyline is, this is how an invasion storyline should be done.
For the fans who are not watching Impact Wrestling, this isn't something that came out of nowhere. Kenny Omega has been on Impact the past few weeks, and he has been basically rekindling his friendship with the Good Brothers. And they reunited because on January 16th at Hard to Kill, Kenny Omega will be wrestling on the TNA pay-per-view, or the Impact pay-per-view, with the Good Brothers, and they will be teaming up to face the Impact World Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. That's going to be an amazing match.
Big match.
But the past couple of weeks, Omega has been on there with the Good Brothers. So this is kind of the Good Brothers returning that favor of Omega helping them out with Swan and the Guns.
Yeah, and they come in, they hit the Magic Killer on Mox, which was a callback to 2016 WWE for me. And you know, I'm glad Excalibur called it by the Magic Killer and not some other, you know, dumb name the Goodnight Express that FTR uses.
They still call it the Magic Killer in Impact as well, so that never went away. And the Good Brothers have been in Impact since July. So
yeah, you can tell one of us does not watch Impact on a week-to-week basis, but
and that's why I'm here.
There you go.
Well, to be fair, I've only been watching it since October or so, but
Kenny Omega is hitting Moxley again and again with the barbed wire bat, and the people at ringside have seen enough of this invasion, but Omega and the Good Brothers fight them all off. But here come the Young Bucks to even the odds, or you think they're going to even the odds, but you don't see them beat up Moxley, but they throw up the too sweet with Omega and the Good Brothers.
Well, first, before that happens, the Varsity Blondes got back up, and they were holding down Omega.
That's true.
And then the Bucks super kicked them. So that's when you realize that wasn't really a surprise for me because, like I've said in the past, the Bucks are awkwardly between babyface and a heel. Yeah. And I thought they were already heels. So when they did this, it was like, it wasn't a surprise.
And they also mentioned that the Elite was going to be in action next week on New Year's Smash Night too. Also,
so AEW, pump the brakes a little, let things develop.
Yeah, you can announce things on social media, guys. But
you wait until after the show and announce it on Twitter that the Elite are going to team up next week.
Yeah, but I mean this night one, man, for New Year's Smash, I would honestly give it like a 9 out of 10, all things considered. This was a great closing angle to a really solid night of wrestling. A little bit too on the predictable side, but enjoyable from beginning to end, as opposed to the next show we're talking about. But any final thoughts about New Year's Smash?
This was fun. This was a very fun night of wrestling. We got some good matches. The highest point was this main event, and the lowest point was the women's title match. But and next week we got the TNT title match, and they did announce Miro versus Chuck Taylor. That'll be fun.
Yep.
And that's not a random thrown together match. That's a part of the storyline. So thanks for being consistent for once, AEW.
Speaking of consistency, how about we talk about some NXT for a little bit before we wrap up? NXT New Year's Evil aired the same exact time, and we did get through both shows. So, we're going to talk about New Year's Evil for a little bit. One thing to note, there's no fight pit match as scheduled between Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, which I was really, really bummed about because I was really looking forward to seeing the fight pit again. But Thatcher is going to be out for a few weeks. I'm glad that it's not a serious injury.
William Regal did confirm that the minute he's cleared to compete, they will do the fight pit. So they're not just canceling it, they're just holding it off.
I'm assuming they're going to do it at TakeOver, which they did announce for February 14th on this show. So WWE better be calling it St. Valentine's Day Massacre TakeOver. So,
so this is a breaking news, and this isn't going to be a spoiler, but how about we stop having Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly fight each other? Because apparently they're both hurt again.
God, unbelievable. Oh, that's not good. That is not good, guys. But yeah, we'll get to how stiff that match was because I'm just learning about this right now from Tomas because he's got it pulled up right now. But
so am I. We're not ruining anything quite yet, but I just saw that headline. I was like, I can't ignore that.
No, but anywho, yeah. Pull that up, and I'll talk about this first match right here. Damian Priest versus Karrion Kross, a commercial-free match. It's the if I can talk tonight, the Archer of Infamy versus the best damn entrance in NXT. How about that? Karrion Kross. I mean, this guy, he has all the tools to be something really, really special in WWE, my friends. But I'll be honest, this match.
Before we continue,
what's up? What's the update?
Before we continue, I just want to get your thoughts on this. This could be kayfabe, but so O'Reilly was selling his jaw but WWE said he went to the hospital to get X-rays,
Mm-hmm.
and Finn Balor is getting his arm checked out.
Okay.
That sounds low-key kayfabe.
Yeah.
But we will see.
We'll see.
But
You know,
if you
again,
have 2 matches in a row with the same guys and they're both hurt again, maybe we need to
probably roll back a little bit.
roll back a little.
Yeah.
Anywho, but like you were saying,
Karrion
Kross one-on-one with Damian Priest.
Yes.
I think Damian Priest was a very good first opponent for Karrion Kross. I'm very glad that they didn't straight up just put the title back on Kross.
No.
Because I think that would have been a little rushed. And I understand that Kross unfortunately had to give up the title the minute he lost it. I mean, the minute he won it. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's a reason to just immediately put it back on him the minute he comes back.
Right.
I think it's okay to build him up a little more. Because even when he first debuted, I think they rushed it with him a little.
I 100% agree. Karrion Kross is someone who, as I was mentioning, he is someone that has all the tools to be someone really special once he gets called out to the main roster along with Scarlett. I mean, he's got everything. He's got the entrance. He's got the valet. He's got the cool moveset. He's got the look. He's got the presence. But he has yet to have a big match in NXT that's really impressed me, unfortunately. And I know what this guy's capable of. And I may be in the minority here. I didn't really like this match tonight that he had with Damian Priest. I'm just being honest. I didn't
it
like
was
it.
a good squash match. I think it made Kross look good. I think
they went
Priest
too long.
helped make him look good.
They went too long.
I can see what you went there. It was too long. I think it should have been more of a squash. I think the squash with Tommaso Ciampa served its purpose better when they did that match at In Your House.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was a warm-up. This was just straight up a warm-up match for Kross.
It was, and it really did feel like a warm-up match. Tommaso Ciampa's squash match at In Your House definitely did more to help Kross. I mean, if they switched, if they switched and had Damian Priest have the match at In Your House with Kross, and then they put the Tommaso Ciampa match here, I think it would have served more of a purpose. Because Ciampa, no disrespect to Damian Priest, because he has improved leaps and bounds over this last year, but to have him be a more believable opponent to beat Karrion Kross than Tommaso Ciampa, like, I'm just not buying that personally. Especially after everything.
Why would Karrion Kross have a harder time beating Damian Priest than he would Tommaso Ciampa?
Right. Exactly.
And their excuse could be, oh, Damian Priest is the big guy. And it's like, well, I know Vince isn't booking the show, but that's very Vince McMahon logic.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing Triple H needs is to start taking advice from his father-in-law.
The match was definitely stiff. I'll give them that. They were laying it into each other. It just really wasn't that exciting. I mean, Damian Priest hits a razor's edge. He gets a couple of nice near falls, but I'm just sitting here like, okay, Karrion Kross just returned. You really think that Damian Priest, I'm really going to buy Damian Priest as the guy to put him down right now?
No.
Not a chance in hell.
It was a warm-up match and a little unrelated, but I'm really glad they brought Scarlett with Karrion Kross because they connected so well together in TNA. And unless I'm mistaken, I think they're together in real life.
They are.
Okay.
They are.
So I'm really, 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 really glad that they came to WWE together because Scarlett is good. She has an amazing presence.
She really
and she's
does.
Scary. She's scary too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like over the top scary, like almost like an old John Carpenter film almost. Like if she's a John Carpenter
let's just say
villain.
I would not want to be I would not want to be in a giant house alone with her. Just standing off in the distance. I could see her eyes glowing. I would not want that.
A giant house alone with Scarlett on the first floor and Dexter Lumis on the top floor.
No, thank you. That sounds like that sounds horrible. That sounds very, very, very horrible.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the match goes 15 minutes. It's kind of slow for the first part, but, Kross hits the hard Saito suplex and his big times up forearm and he wins. I mean, 2 3/4 stars, 3 if I'm being really generous, but I really don't think I can go up to a 3 for this. Definitely some nice psychology, but
It
again,
was fine for me.
too long.
It served its purpose, and at spoiler alert, there is going to be a takeover on Valentine's Day that we will
Yep.
rant about in a second, or I'll rant about in a second. It's going to be Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, or who knows what they're going to do, because Finn Balor is probably going to have to give up the title if this injury is real.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see, man. But
The
also,
NXT title has been cursed lately.
Yeah, one other question before we move on to this next match. Do you think Damian Priest is a Royal Rumble entry and a call-up at this point?
A Royal Rumble entry, yes. A call-up, not quite yet.
Okay,
He's more of a wait till after WrestleMania.
I definitely see him being a surprise entrant this year, because it definitely.
Yes, I agree.
This feels like a match, almost feels like a final match in NXT for me, for Damian Priest. If it is,
yeah,
it's fine.
I definitely feel that. I could see that. I could see them putting him in the Royal Rumble, but just waiting a little after WrestleMania to debut him, just to figure out what show is he going to go to. Are they going to nix his first name? Are they going to give him new entrance music? Are they going to totally ruin his gimmick and him become a jobber? They need time to think about stuff like that. How are they going to ruin his career?
I just realized if he nicks his first name, he's just Priest. Then you'd have to give him a whole new gimmick. Because then Vince will look at that.
Become a Mordecai 2.0.
Yep. or
and
he will immediately,
yeah, and then he will immediately job to Drew McIntyre at his first pay-per-view, and then he'll be wrestling on main event.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Anywho, not to be so nihilistic.
Speaking of staples on main event, we were talking about this guy earlier a little bit. For the Cruiserweight title, Santos Escobar defending against Gran Metalik.
Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado made a surprise appearance on NXT last week, and they beat Legado del Fantasma in a tag team match, which earned Gran Metalik this Cruiserweight title match. And unless I'm mistaken, this may be Gran Metalik's first Cruiserweight title match since the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic.
I think it was. I mean,
when he faced TJP.
Unless he had a random Cruiserweight title match against Neville or Pac, rather, when he was the king of the Cruiserweights.
He might have.
I don't remember.
He might have.
But
I'm probably wrong, but let's just say it's been a while since Metalik has gotten a Cruiserweight title match.
Yeah, I should mention also that Gran Metalik came out in 2011 Sin Cara colors, which is never a good sign. Never a good omen for the botch-free match. Just gonna leave it at that. But
him and Dorado were dressed for the occasion. This had like a special feel to it with their ring gear.
Mm-hmm. It did. It was a good match. I mean, I didn't like this match as much as Santos's match with Swerve at TakeOver 31. This wasn't nearly as dramatic as that. I honestly think
this was a good little Cruiserweight match.
I feel like Gran Metalik should have gone over here. I think it might be a bit of a stretch.
This is the only reason why I'm going to say no. This is the only reason why I'm going to say no.
Fair.
I know nobody in the world watches 205 Live now, but there is a wrestler on 205 Live named Kurt Stallion, and he won a Fatal 4-Way match to earn a Cruiserweight title match, and he hasn't gotten it yet. And he has been feuding with Santos Escobar on 205 Live, so I don't know if their plan is to put the title on him. Also, don't forget, Jordan Devlin's still a thing. And Jordan Devlin on NXT UK has been given permission to still be called the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. And he defends the title on NXT UK.
There you go.
So there is some loose ends that need to be tied up with that title before I think Santos Escobar can drop it.
Shouldn't Santos lose the title before Jordan Devlin's allowed to come back to the States because they're both heels?
I agree. It's just weird. Think about what they're doing in New Japan right now, how they have the interim United States champion while Jon Moxley is still the official champion.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what they're doing here, except Devlin, they're just straight up calling him the NXT Cruiserweight Champion, which is awkward.
Weird.
My solution to the problem, make a NXT UK Cruiserweight Championship. Let Devlin keep that.
There you
He
go.
can defend it in the UK, and Escobar can keep the irregular title. But no, I don't know what their plan is. Their head is probably exploding right now trying to figure it out. But
I'm
until
game
they
for that.
figure it out, I think Escobar should hang on to the title.
Yeah. I mean, and he's been putting on some good matches over here on these takeovers and these special events, and I think this match with Grand Metalik was no exception. They were doing a lot of really cool flippy shit, but I mean, typical ending, he hits the Phantom Driver and retains. You know, that's kind of all there is to it there. If I'm being nice, 3.5 out of 5. I liked
it's your typical NXT match.
I liked it for the time they got. I would have liked some more near falls. And again, I know that Kurt Stallion is waiting in the wings, and you know, you got some loose ends with Jordan Devlin, but it just felt like it was a good time to give the title to Grand Metalik. Maybe throw him a bone. But
yeah,
again,
understood.
I don't know.
Now, you want to talk about women's debuts and gimmicks that didn't suck?
Yep.
Because let me tell you, you said that AEW's tag team division is doing really good. WWE's women's division is on fire right now.
Yes.
And everyone who's been watching NXT for the past 6 weeks, you have noticed that both Boa and Xia Li basically got kidnapped, and they were being held captive and brutally trained by some unknown force. They've been getting hit with kendo sticks. They've been getting the shit kicked out of them. Xia Li has had to kick Boa repeatedly in the chest until Boa is screaming for mercy. And can I just say those promos were very bloody for WWE?
They were extremely fascinating.
Very, very, very bloody.
Unlike any other vignettes we've ever seen for a new
and
group.
As the weeks went on, we started wondering, what's this going to lead to? And they showed that both Boa and Xia Li, complete makeovers, complete new gimmick changes. And Xia Li had her first match tonight. It was so good.
It was a squash match.
This is how you do a squash match.
This was a great repackaging for sure. I honestly really can't rate this match, unfortunately, because the poor girl she kicks the shit out of was,
Katrina Cortez, was that the girl that was teaming with Sin Cara before Sin Cara got released?
Heck,
against Andrade.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember that.
It might be her.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember who it was.
Remember that random luchadora that just randomly showed up on Raw?
For all intents and purposes, it must have been her. But
yeah, I was getting vibes.
Yeah, but yeah, Xia with a beautiful spinning kick. Like, it's almost, think Kofi Kingston's Trouble in Paradise, but she gets more rotations before she hits the lethal kick. It was so cool. It was so cool.
What a lot of people don't know about Xia Li is that she's never been a pro wrestler before. She's very trained in martial arts, and she's actually been known to stiff a couple of people in NXT. So I think they needed to train her again and say, like, hey, you're very good, but you can't be kicking people's heads off every week.
Right.
So I think this benefited her a lot. And if I'm going to nitpick just one little thing, the entrance is a little corny.
I like the entrance. It was pretty neat. It's unlike anything on NXT right now.
You know, not the effects. It's just her doing the kung fu moves on the ramp.
Yeah.
It's a little corny, but that's a tiny nitpick.
I get what you
Finally,
mean.
They're doing something with Boa. He get signed like 3 years ago, and they haven't done anything with him.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Remember John Cena went to the Chinese tryouts?
He totally did. Yeah. And now they're
revealed that he could speak Mandarin.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, Cena just goes like, oh, yeah, I've been learning Mandarin on the side. When do you have time to learn Mandarin, John Cena?
John Cena, multi-talented he is. But I
Yeah.
cannot wait to see how Xia Li progresses. I could honestly see her being a challenger for Io Shirai if she doesn't drop the title before then. But, I mean, if it's like by the end of the year, Xia Li could definitely be a credible challenger for the NXT Women's title. But
Oh,
you
yeah.
heard it here first.
We can't rate this match, but I give this repackaging a big thumbs up.
Yeah,
And I am looking forward to seeing who that woman in the chair is.
absolutely. Or the man in the chair.
'Cause
We
she
don't know
is
who it
shrouded
is.
in mystery.
We don't know who it is. But
Yeah, whoever that person is in the chair, it's shrouded in mystery, and I want to know who it is.
yes. And yeah, hey, speaking of women's wrestling, oh god, this stipulation again. Last woman standing, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Gonzalez. Fuck me with this damn stipulation.
Before we get to that, I think we got a really lame promo by Bronson Reed. It was that typical, I'm not booked on the show, but I'm going to talk about another match.
It was
Hey, you had to nix a
he's
match. You could have thrown Reed a bone.
but they had other ideas for how to fill the time with no fight.
Also, Reed just got a repackaging, so I don't know. I like Bronson Reed.
I do too.
In our TakeOver 31 review, I praised Bronson Reed. And I was a little nervous that they repackaged him too.
I really wanted him to win the North American title in the fall, but he just didn't.
Me too.
Just
my only thing, don't turn him heel. Please don't turn him heel. You have enough heels.
Oh, they're going to now. Now that you've said that.
Oh God, please no. Keep him babyface.
Just now that you've said that, they're going to turn Bronson Reed heel in a few weeks. But
God damn it.
So last woman standing, Rhea and Raquel were apparently best friends. This is the first time I'm.
Rhea Ripley is my favorite wrestler. Rhea Ripley is my favorite wrestler.
Oh, she's so good.
Love her. I love Rhea Ripley.
She's so good.
I love everything about her. I'm sorry, I just have to gawk about her for a minute. I love everything about Rhea Ripley.
He's a mark.
Every single little. I'm a huge mark for Rhea Ripley.
There you go.
She should be the NXT Women's Champion right now.
I have a theory about where she's going. So
I know what you're gonna say.
We'll get through the match and then we'll I should note that at one point early on in this match, Big Joseph and I almost at the exact same time said the exact same thing. Are those handcuffs? It was was something that I couldn't gloss over. Big Joseph is best commentator in all of WWE right now as far as I'm concerned, and the fact that he and I said the exact same thing at the same time we saw it was.
I have moments like that too, where I'll say the same thing that the commentators are saying, and friends will tell me you should be a commentator. It's no, they say the same thing all the time. I was just beating them to it.
Yeah, but she actually did handcuff Raquel to the chain link at ringside, and Raquel actually does free herself, and she does something I've never seen before. Give credit where it's due. She uses that ripped off chain link as a weapon on Rhea Ripley, and it was really cool.
Now that you say that, I'm going to use this moment to say Raquel Gonzalez has grown on me so much this year.
She has.
She went from being one of the greenest people on the NXT roster to, if she won the NXT Women's Championship, I would not be mad.
To arguably the next challenger for Io Shirai at NXT TakeOver Retribution or NXT TakeOver Unforgiven, whatever they're gonna call it. But I'll give them credit for as bad of a stipulation as I think this is.
You mean how good of a stipulation it is?
Okay, hold on a second. So everybody knows how much I hate this stipulation, but don't think for a second that I can't rate a match of this style 5 stars. If I really thought about it, I would rate Triple H and Chris Jericho at Fully Loaded 2000 my perfect 5 stars. Because it's just that good of a match, despite the bad stipulation. Just because, again, the reason why I don't like it is because, the referee, this is, the least exciting match in terms of waiting for near falls, because you're just waiting for the ref to do that 4, 5, he's doing the slow count, and I wrote down the dreaded 9 count a couple of times. It's 8, 9, oh, she's up, and the match continues, and I'm you really have to waste all that damn time for a near fall.
Dramatic effect. So we go to the ringside area. Ripley and Gonzalez are fighting, and Ripley grabs the hammer to the ring bell, she's going to hit Gonzalez with it.
favorite spot of the
Gonzalez
match.
slams Ripley's face onto the ring bell, and you could say that, wow, she really rung Ripley's bell there.
I hate you. I hate you so much. That was so bad. I
Oh, and
hated
let me
that.
tell you, it gets worse. It gets
No.
worse. So
No,
they
it
continue
doesn't.
fighting, and Gonzalez prepares to bury Ripley underneath all the rubble that's near the announce table.
I know where
And
this is
at
going.
that point, the referee starts to count, and Ripley gets up, believe it or not.
You jerk. No.
That's my favorite Rhea Ripley pun.
No.
That's my favorite one to do.
Lauren would be so proud if she were watching this right now. But
if I ever meet Rhea Ripley, I'm going to find a way to get that pun out there. And then she will probably break my jaw, and I will go home a happy man.
But wait until WrestleMania LA weekend to do that.
Yes, and I will be glad to go home. I will go home with a smile on my face, telling all my friends, yeah, Rhea Ripley broke my jaw. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. But this match was, Rhea was taking a beating in this match, man. She was taking Mick Foley-esque tumbles off of the stage into the backstage area. She was sentoning off the top of the set of lockers that were in that hallway.
Oh, that was cool.
Table.
That was so cool.
I mean, given the space she had, she stuck that landing. It was a really cool senton.
Dakota Kai gets involved at one point.
Yes.
And I really hope Dakota Kai's not claustrophobic, because Rhea Ripley literally shoves her into a locker, shuts the door, and the first thing I think is, Kai must be really small to be able to fit in there. And then Ripley grabs one of those equipment cases and just barricades her into there. And the first thing I'm thinking is, I really hope that poor girl's not claustrophobic, because she was probably having a heart attack if she was.
Yeah, I can certainly say I've never seen that before in a wrestling match.
But then again, I'm pretty sure if Dakota was uncomfortable with it, they wouldn't have made her do it. So I'm sure she was fine.
I was legitimately about to ask whether or not Rhea Ripley had any friends in NXT, because nobody came down to even the odds against Dakota Kai and Raquel. But
yeah, I know. But she proved that she didn't need help.
Rhea found the way to do that, But yeah, there was that weird Rhea Ripley submission that she does, but she had the chair as leverage on Raquel, which was brutal.
That was pretty cool.
And getting into the finish, Raquel rolls out of it, and Rhea hits her face into one of the LEDs on the side of the stage. And then she choke slams Rhea Ripley through the stage, and she goes with her. And she pops up out of the rubble like she's the Hulk, and she wins.
And I hated the finish.
Really?
I hated the finish because the minute it happened, I thought, oh, great, it's going to be a draw, and the feud's going to continue. And then Gonzalez just gets up at the last second, and I was just like, the ending felt lazy.
You see why I don't like last man standing matches now?
See, they could have done this, and they could have made Gonzalez look better if she just straight up chokeslammed her through the stage.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why they were trying to do this to protect Ripley, because understand, Ripley did just lose to Io Shirai, so she just lost 2 matches in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we were going with this. You want to see her in the Royal Rumble.
She's going to win the Royal Rumble. She has to. At this point, okay, guys, for those of you watching this, mark it down right now. Rhea Ripley is winning the Royal Rumble, and she is going on to WrestleMania to beat Charlotte Flair like she should have last year. It's going to happen. Especially
hope so,
after this.
Because I'm still not over that.
If the Damian Priest match earlier was his farewell to NXT, if that did not look like a farewell match in NXT to you guys, this match right here was a farewell for Rhea Ripley. I'm 100% positive she's winning the Rumble.
If they were not going to put the Women's Championship back on her in NXT, then there's nothing left for her to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like 2020 to me, after WrestleMania, was like Ripley's Odyssey. And it was her journey back to the Women's Championship. Mm-hmm. And since they didn't put that on her, you do got to think maybe her ultimate revenge now is winning the Royal Rumble. And if Charlotte Flair happens to be the Raw Women's Champion going into Mania,
She's going to.
She wants to take the Raw Women's Championship from Charlotte, just like Charlotte took the NXT Women's Championship away from Rhea Ripley. Literally switch the roles.
The writing's on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
Yeah. This time it's Ripley who won the Royal Rumble and who was challenging Flair for her title instead of the other way around. And I think that could be very interesting considering WWE basically wants to do a reset of, unfortunately, what they had to do last year with WrestleMania. And that's one of the matches they do want in front of a limited capacity crowd.
Rematchamania. Welcome to Rematchamania 37. There it is. But
I mean, you know what? I'm okay with it if we're going to see it in a stadium. I have not heard any updates about that, of what they're going to do for WrestleMania. But they're talking about it, so obviously something's going to happen.
But good last man standing match overall, all things considered. I gave it 3 3/4 stars out of 5. If I'm being really generous, I may give it a 4 on a really good day.
I really, really, really enjoyed it until the end.
Absolutely.
That's my only nitpick.
But so no fight pit tonight. So they had to fill some of that time with something. So we get The Way, Johnny Gargano's stable, with Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, and Austin Theory arriving to the Capitol Wrestling Center via motorcade. And they're having the Gargano reversing the curse celebration. I'm just saying this right now.
You know what the funny thing...
Can I just say
the funny thing about... Yeah.
The Way is fucking hilarious. Anybody who did not see the Gargano family Christmas celebration, you're really missing out, because that is amazing comedy. I'm so happy that the Garganos support indie wrestling like they do. Indy Hartwell was christened with the name Indie Wrestling, and I'm like, that's hilarious. Austin Theory.
Theory looks like Johnny Gargano's little brother, but Theory is taller than him, and that's fucking hilarious.
He is everybody's least favorite frat boy ever. Gargano is like praising how amazing his traps look on the little caricature like poster. Like they're giving Gargano a plaque like, hey, we're so glad you beat Leon Ruff, or, you know, it was just a ridiculous segment, you know, and, you know, you get Shotzi Blackheart interrupting it. And Austin Theory was really funny. He called Shotzi Mike Wazowski, and I'm like,
that was hilarious.
What a zinger. And then Austin goes out to confront her, and Shotzi shoots the little Nerf gimmick out of her tank and hits Austin right in the nuts. And
it was great.
You know, if you think that selling wasn't legitimate, you know, that
was real. That was real.
That was certainly real. And
then
Kushida.
All of a sudden, Kushida. Always good to see him.
Give me Gargano versus Kushida at TakeOver Valentine's Day Massacre, please. I would like to see that.
For the North American title, please.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, I realized that I wanted that match. And so they fight, and the bell rings. And Gargano is saying, who rung that bell? Who rung that bell? It's Dexter Lumis. Don't forget, he's hosting the show.
Yeah.
And
I completely forgot to mention, Odd Choice is a host, by the way.
I loved it.
It was
I freaking
really
loved
weird.
It. I love Dexter Lumis. And he flashes up a graphic that he must have was drawing just right there, just speed drawing as fast as he could.
And Vic Joseph was selling that. Joseph was selling that. How did he draw that so fast?
I wonder if Lumis drew all of those graphics himself, because if he did, he is talented.
Mm-hmm.
Because those were some very good drawings. I would buy one of those drawings off of Lumis if he sold them.
Me too. Those are great.
I also love how Lumis was on commentary, but he didn't say anything.
He did not say a damn word. And
I don't want Lumis to ever speak.
Wade Barrett was so perplexed as to why he was even sitting next to him at the commentary desk, and it was amazing. But
yeah, I loved it. But yeah, this was a fun match.
It was. I like this better than the opener.
This was fun. This was very fun.
This was a lot more fun to watch. There were a lot of really good wrestling sequences. Candice LeRae and Shotzi Blackheart know each other really well by this point, so they're starting to click a little bit better. Gargano and Kushida, though. I said I wanted this match at TakeOver. We got a little taste of it, and it was a beautiful sequence of professional wrestling. They just gelled together. It was so awesome. Submissions were traded.
Oh, yeah.
Arm bars. Gargano escapes. athleticism aplenty. I loved it. It was great. It was great.
That's one of those matches where either person could benefit from winning, because obviously you do want to break the Gargano curse. But if they did want to just pull a switcheroo and put the title on Kushida, I would not complain. Not one bit.
Shotzi Blackheart.
Because this year, they've taken Kushida a lot more seriously. They kind of remembered who the fuck he is. They've given him more of an edge. They let him like play his gimmick more. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. I got this Apple Watch for Christmas. And I'm not going to lie, every chance that I get, I do the Kushida entrance and I look up at it and I tap it.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I love Kushida's entrance.
He's great. You know.
But that was a fun match.
I really, really enjoyed it. I loved Shotzi's tope underneath Kushida, who was standing on the second rope. That was really cool. Austin Theory does get involved at the finish, and Gargano accidentally headbutts him in the balls again. It was not a good night to be Austin Theory.
Oh, no. I hope he didn't have any plans later that night.
No.
With any female companions he may have met after the show.
No. But, you know, I'll also give them credit. Kushida pinned Johnny Gargano in this match, but I do not mind that one bit. Because if this leads to Gargano versus Kushida at TakeOver, sold. And I'm glad he beat him with a roll-up also, so not to make him look completely weak.
Oh, yeah.
But, 3.25 stars out of 5. I liked it more than the opener, believe it or not.
A couple of announcements before we get to the main event. Number one, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is starting next week. And the two matches announced are Everrise versus Grizzled Young Veterans and Breezango versus Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. So Yui put over Breezango pretty huge in a promo, saying that, they're a comedic tag team, but they're two veterans. And thank you for acknowledging Breeze and Dongo as veterans, because they are.
They absolutely are.
William
veterans.
Regal announced for the first time ever there's going to be a women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
I don't know who's
I think
going
that
to
was a missed opportunity. I think that was a missed opportunity to pick a female legend to name it after. But I'm sure Dusty loved the girls as much as he does the men. So I'm sure they're honored to have a tag team tournament in his name too. That's going to be interesting. If there's one thing WWE is very weak on, it's women's tag teams. So it's going to be very interesting to see. They're going to have to go on the outside to get some tag teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see who WWE gets. Impact had to do the same thing for their Knockouts tag team title tournament. So I always like to see who they get from the outside to
we'll see,
do these tournaments.
But you ready to see?
I mean, last year they got Alex Shelley.
Yeah.
So
Alex Shelley teaming with Kushida in last year's Dusty Classic.
Yeah, the Time Splitters.
Yep. There you go. But let's see what happened with this main event. Let's see where they might have gotten hurt. Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT Championship in a rematch from last year's match of the year for NXT, as far as I'm concerned. I loved that match from 31. But Finn Balor broke his jaw.
I think it actually won that award too.
It did. It did.
Yeah, it won match of the year.
Yep, the match where Finn Balor broke his jaw, and this is his first match back, and apparently he got hurt again. I mean, again, I'm hoping that's kayfabe. I'm hoping they're just keeping up with the gimmick, but
the last 3 minutes are already on YouTube, so I'm just rewatching the end right here to find out maybe it happened here. But
okay,
one word to describe this match: stiff.
These two.
Stiff.
This was a excellent main event. It's definitely a worthy sequel to last year's match of the year. They beat the fuck out of each other for 25 minutes, as opposed to the high spots of AEW's main event tonight. These two just went in there and they were having some really beautiful chain wrestling sequences. They were stiffing each other hard in the face. Kyle O'Reilly in the abdominal stretch. He is reaching for the ropes, but he can't do it with his arms. So you know what he does? He has to bite the rope. And Finn takes exception to this, and he kicks the fucking rope.
That looked so painful. That looked like a legitimate curb stomp. Like you see in movies where someone makes someone bite the curb they break their fucking teeth with that. It looked almost as bad as that. That was just, oh, God. Like, are these two trying to kill each other? Apparently they are, because they keep breaking each other in half.
Yep. Kyle O'Reilly was favoring that jaw for a lot of the match, and Finn Balor responds
How
by using a
ironic would
bunch
it
of head
be
scissors.
if O'Reilly has a broken jaw? How ironic would that be?
Yeah, it's
With all the because didn't O'Reilly hurt his arm in the last match, and now they're saying Balor hurt his arm?
I don't know, man. That's part of why we may be saying it's kayfabe, but we don't want to
Yeah.
again,
Balor,
if they're serious injuries, like I don't want to say for sure. Oh,
Finn,
this is a work,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
complete
Finn Balor
freaking
did get a
idiot.
nasty gash over his eye.
He
That
did,
was
and
real.
I don't know how he got it. Like all of a
Oh, it
sudden,
was probably
like
from a straight kick.
all of a sudden, like he pops out of a head scissors and he's all cut up, and I'm like, how in the hell did he get that? I'm assuming he's gonna need stitches from that shit. Like,
Oh yeah,
because it was not good.
this was good.
It was
This
a
match
really
was good though.
amazing match between the two. Back and forth. We were talking about this before we started recording. I kind of wanted Kyle O'Reilly to win here. Not gonna lie.
He basically tapped out. He just tapped out.
It
And
was
my thing was
so anticlimactic.
the reason why I give AEW the nod over NXT this week is because AEW felt like they pulled out some big stops. And for NXT, I was kind of expecting something to happen after this match, whether it be Karrion Kross, whether it be something. But no, we just got this straight main event with a straight finish, and we don't know what's going to happen next.
And yeah,
Does Karrion Kross want the NXT title back? I guess we'll find out next week.
And O'Reilly just taps out. Finn Balor doesn't even hit the coup de grace, as Wade Barrett called it, on him.
Yeah, and you would think if nothing was going to happen in this match, they would put the title on O'Reilly, because why have a rematch if they weren't going to put the title on him?
Yeah, I feel like this was Kyle O'Reilly's time. If he's not too badly injured, hopefully he's not. I can see him being an entry in the men's Rumble match at the end of the month also, along with Damian Priest. I think, he's like the only other Undisputed Era member that hasn't been in the match, other than Adam Cole was in the men's Rumble match. Roderick Strong was in the Rumble match that shall not be named in Saudi Arabia. But I mean, Kyle O'Reilly seems like another worthy competitor to enter that match for sure. No disrespect to Bobby Fish. I mean, I'm sure he'd be great in a Rumble match, but like, I don't know. Kyle O'Reilly's on a roll right now. I'd like to see the main roster at least capitalize on his momentum a little bit and plug NXT that way. But this was a damn good main event. Probably the best. I think this was honestly my favorite match of both of these shows that we've talked about tonight. Saving the best for last, 4.5 out of 5. They just went bonkers on each other.
If you were to ask me what match I liked more between O'Reilly and Balor and Omega Fenix, I think it just depends on what style you like more. Do you like the high-flying style with grappling, or do you like this more, ground-based, very stiff, strong style kind of wrestling, kind of the stuff? If you enjoy Wrestle Kingdom this past weekend, this is the kind of stuff that you saw in Wrestle Kingdom is what they did on NXT.
Yes.
Which Balor and O'Reilly are very trained in that style of wrestling as well. Between the two,
I don't
know. I don't want to cop out and say I can't decide, but
I liked the Balor O'Reilly match a little bit more because it was more unpredictable.
Yeah.
I really, really loved both main events, but I think I have to give NXT the edge this week, mainly because you could see coming from a mile away that Omega was going to defeat Rey Fenix tonight.
Yeah. You make a good point there, because even though Balor retained, I was still a little surprised that Balor retained.
Yeah.
Because I could have saw O'Reilly winning this match tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but honestly, like in terms of, main event, NXT all the way. But in terms of the overall show, AEW just put on a stronger card tonight.
And they have another strong card next week as well.
They do, yeah.
Which,
and
I know the New Year's gimmick is basically done and over with, but hey, we had to do a memorial show last week. I'm perfectly okay with pushing it back another week.
Yeah, I agree, my friend. But
let's just hope. I mean, I know that Brodie Lee had a front row seat to see some damn good wrestling tonight. Best seed in the house.
Absolutely. Rest in peace, Big Rig. But thank you to all the viewers. Tomas, once again, thank you for joining me tonight. It's always fun to argue with you. All in good fun.
I need someone to discuss wrestling with.
Yeah. But friends, once again, if you're new here, last reminder, hit that subscribe button on your way out as hard as you possibly can. Leave me a thumbs up also if you enjoy this kind of content. The thumbs ups will also kind of tell me, I'm thinking about doing this next week. I'm not entirely sure, though. If you guys want to see it, definitely consider leaving some thumbs up for me there. I think that just about does it. With all that being said, folks, Back Talk, commence.